freedom of choice was a lie told to those who have forgotten how their will was shaped. Our society has gotten very comfortable with this idea of freedom to the point where we don't really question it. We have this illusion of freedom, and by proxy, the illusion of choice. You're driving on a road and you meet a crossroads. You can either go left or go right. You choose to go left. You think that you had the freedom of choice, but the truth is, it was already chosen by the men who paved the road 20 years ago. You go to a restaurant, you see the menu, you have 20 different options. You think you have the freedom to choose what you want, but the real decision was made by the man that built the menu. Right? There's a difference between selection and self-determination. Selection is when you're given options and then you have to choose which one you want. Self-determination is absent of any exterior influence, where there's no options, where it's basically an open system where you can choose anything that you want, that your heart truly desires. And very few things in our world today are possible via self-determination. Like, it seems like most things are already set up for us, kind of like school, right? Like you have to follow a certain path. You got to get these credits. You got to take these classes. That's how a lot of what life is, right? And, sort of parallel to this idea is desire, right? Desire comes before choice, and desire is something that it's already formed in you and you just sort of discover it. It's not like you're consciously like thinking about, oh, what are these desires? You're basically conditioned to have the desires that you have by the world around you, whether it's social media, whether, seeing all these guys drive Lambos, now you want a Lambo, whether it's you're in school and all your peers are, they have this cool backpack, now you want that backpack, or maybe this new, makeup line came out and the popular girl in school is wearing them, so now you want that. Whatever it is, right? I think you guys get what I'm saying. But people don't realize that by the time a choice is made, it's already been influenced. So your desires are ultimately what shape the choices that we make. And if your desire is something that is formed and made by influence, then it's like, even when you're choosing a different option, even that has been preconditioned in you, if you're following what I'm saying. So the real question is not what you choose, it's why you're choosing it, right? And this is something that's hard for people to self-analyze, because we've been so conditioned, so influenced, especially from a young age, right? Like, it really starts with your family, it starts with the education system, even your trauma or your life experiences. It even goes back down to the most basic things, like the reward systems that you've experienced throughout your life. Like, you're more likely to desire certain things based off of the experiences that you've had. And so society doesn't need to force obedience when it can shape preference. And this is what manipulators, the ultimate manipulators, understand. If they can shape your desires, there's no need to force obedience, because you're just going to fall in line to exactly how they want you to do. And this is what the elites are doing on us. Whoever runs the world, I don't know who it is, but that group of people, they are very intentional with the media that they are exposing to the average person. And it actually, not even media, it goes beyond that. Academia, it goes into, the nuclear family. Like, they're infecting all these things and shaping it how they want, because in turn, then they can control our desires, and then they don't have to put us in physical chains, right? They don't have to, it's not going to be obvious to us. We're not going to know. And so you have to understand that conditioning really starts from a very young age, and every single human being has gone through this. Even if you acknowledge that you've been influenced, it doesn't take away the fact that you've been influenced, right? And along the lines of what I was just saying, invisible chains are the strongest, right? Control is the most effective when it doesn't feel like control. There's a quote that says, "The best slave is the one who thinks he's free." And it's true, right? A person is not going to question things when they feel like all their desires and beliefs have been met, right? Their motivation is all within the realm of the things that they want, but they don't realize that the things that they want have been conditioned into them. And so they think that there's this open, vast, free world, but the truth is they're stuck inside this box. And so everything they need is in this box, but the truth is that they are incapable of seeing beyond the box, and therefore they think that they're free. But it's not true. They're in invisible chains, which, as I just said, are the strongest ones. The absence of resistance is mistaken for autonomy, right? We're like, oh, there's no resistance, so things must be fine. Guys, these elites, whoever's running the world, are very intentional with what they are doing. They understand how to control the masses, and this is very dangerous. And this idea of independent will is, largely false, right? The independent self is mainly a product of external sources without us understanding it. What feels personal is often collective programming. Like, you think you're a free thinker, but the truth is that even thinking that you're a free thinker is something that, they want you to believe. Myself included. And you just need to remember how will was shaped. Like, true freedom is going to begin with acknowledging that your desires have been shaped, and then trying to reverse engineer back to the origin, right? Like, okay, well, why did I actually have that desire? Did I see these videos? Was I around these people? And basically trying to trace it back to the origin. That's really how you're going to start awakening. And you need to question the will. Like, questioning the will feels uncomfortable because it threatens our identity. It threatens this sort of world that we've created and lived in since we can really remember. And so it's difficult because you're essentially starting to question the framework of which your life was built off of. But you cannot get past this sort of slave mindset until you do so. Ultimately, freedom isn't the absence of influence, because that is, like, legitimately impossible. It's impossible to not be influenced by anything. Freedom is the awareness of the influence and understand where your desires are being shaped, and from that you can resist it. Right? The moment that desire is examined, it loses most of its power. Like, when you understand what's going on behind the scenes, it loses most of its power. Not all of it, but most of it. So yeah, the cost of true freedom is awareness, and that's going to be isolating. You're going to separate yourself from the majority. You're not going to get along with a lot of people. It requires the courage to live without borrowed meaning, which seems amazing in theory, but in practice it's very hard when you're not on borrowed theory, because people love meaning even if it's false. Because it's like it's giving them a reason to wake up in the morning and actually do things, right? And so when you eliminate that borrowed meaning, you're going to be in some deep shit. And if you can get through it, you're better for it. But for a lot of people, it's a lot of suffering. And this is why most people prefer to live in the lie, right? It is easier, simply put. I'll leave you guys with this. You are not unfree because you lack choices. You are unfree because you never questioned who told you to want them. Thank you guys for watching.